Today, we're diving into a really tough one. It's a plane crash in South Korea, and tragically, very few survivors.
Hmm.
Yeah, a Jeju Air flight,
Oh,
and it was going from Bangkok to Won, South Korea,
right.
on December 29th, 2024, when it crash landed.
Oh, wow.
Out of the 181 people on board, only 2 of the crew members survived.
Oh my gosh.
It's South Korea's deadliest aviation disaster since 1997.
That's awful.
So what happened? Let's
Yeah.
explore the details and try to understand this tragedy.
It's a real reminder that even with all of the technology that we have, air travel can be risky.
Yeah, absolutely.
Yeah.
And the details of the crash are really unsettling. The plane, a Boeing 737-800, was seen skidding on its belly
Oh, wow.
at high speed, hitting an embankment, and then erupting in flames.
Whoa.
What's really striking is that the landing gear wasn't visible in the footage.
Wow, that's a little concerning, isn't it?
Yeah, it is.
Yeah.
That sets off some alarm bells, for sure.
It does. The absence of visible landing gear definitely raises some concerns. About a potential malfunction when they were trying to land.
Right.
And what makes it even more confusing is that the weather was good. They were reporting good weather.
Right.
And this particular aircraft had a really solid safety record.
Right.
So it's a big question, like what could have caused such a terrible crash when, everything seemed to be fine.
Yeah, for sure. So that's where this bird strike theory comes in, right?
Yeah.
It's been reported that the pilot had a distress call
Mhm.
just moments before the crash happened. And he mentioned a bird strike
Oh.
and was saying, Mayday, Mayday,
Oh.
repeatedly.
Yeah, and he also used the term go around, which is, in aviation, it means they're going to abort the landing. So
Right.
they increase speed and then they ascend to try to make another attempt at landing.
Okay.
Yeah.
So it sounds like he was trying to regain control after this bird strike happened. But, I mean, is it possible for a bird strike to bring down a Boeing 737-800?
Right.
I mean, these are big planes.
Yeah.
Robust aircraft.
That's the question that a lot of experts are kind of wrestling with right now.
Yeah.
While a bird strike can definitely cause some damage to a plane, the amount of damage, it really depends.
Right.
How big is the bird?
Yeah.
Where did it hit?
Yeah.
How fast was the aircraft going at the time? So some experts are a little skeptical that a bird strike alone could have caused such a really bad crash.
Right.
It's possible that there were other things going on, other factors that we don't know about yet.
Right.
Yeah.
Okay, so that's where the black boxes come in.
Right.
They're crucial in accident investigations.
Yeah.
Because they record flight data and cockpit audio.
Yeah.
It gives the investigators a way to see what was happening.
Yeah.
In the cockpit
In those critical moments.
during those critical moments.
Totally.
Now, they're often called black boxes, but they're actually orange.
Yeah.
For visibility.
To make them easier to find.
Exactly.
Yeah.
And they've been recovered, right?
Yeah, they have.
Black box.
That's a big step forward in the investigation for sure.
Okay.
But there's a bit of a twist.
Oh.
One of them,
Okay.
the flight recorder, had some damage.
Oh, wow.
So now they're going to have to do this analysis on it, and they might even have to send it to the U.S.
Okay.
to see if they can get all the data off of it.
Right.
Yeah.
So it sounds like we're in for a little bit of a waiting game
Yeah, it seems like
until we get that data back.
Yeah.
But who exactly is involved in the investigation?
Well, the South Korean authorities are the ones leading it.
Okay.
But it's a real team effort. They're getting help from the U.S. National Transportation Safety Board,
Okay.
the NTSB,
Got it.
and experts from Boeing because they made the aircraft,
Right.
and the Federal Aviation Administration, the FAA.
Right.
So, I mean, you can tell this is a big investigation.
Yeah.
A lot of people want to know what happened.
Yeah.
A global effort to figure it out.
Right. Absolutely.
Yeah, it really is. Yeah, trying to piece everything together.
Yeah.
And as we wait for, all the information to come back from the black box analysis,
Right.
I think it's really important to remember the human side of all of this.
Right.
The human toll that this has taken.
Yeah, absolutely. The aftermath at the Muan International Airport, I mean, it was just filled with these heartbreaking scenes of families just waiting for any news they could get,
Yeah.
clinging to hope. It's difficult to even imagine what they're going through.
Oh, absolutely. The pain and the anguish.
Yeah.
One story that I read that really hit me hard was about a Thai national
Okay.
who lost her daughter in the crash. And her father said something that was just, so powerful. He said, I never thought this would be the last time we'd see each other. Forever.
Oh my gosh.
You
Yeah.
know, and this just makes it so real
Right.
that these aren't just statistics. This is, real
Really?
people whose lives have been completely changed.
It's awful.
Yeah.
And there was another story about a 71-year-old man who was waiting for his daughter to come home.
Oh,
And he mentioned that, she didn't call because she was almost home,
wow.
which just adds another layer to this whole thing.
It's so tragic.
Yeah.
It really is. And, it makes the investigation even more important to understand what exactly happened, whether it was the pilot, some mechanical failure, or a combination of things. It's not just about preventing future accidents, but it's also about giving some closure to these families.
Yeah, I agree. And speaking of the investigation, I'm curious about, there's a lot of skepticism around this bird strike theory. What are some of the reasons that experts might not think that that was the only cause?
Yeah, I mean, one thing to think about is just the size and the weight of a Boeing 737-800.
Right.
I mean, these planes are designed to withstand some impact,
Right.
including from birds.
Okay.
So while it can definitely cause some damage,
Yeah.
it's pretty rare for it to make the pilots completely lose control,
Okay.
especially during landing
Right.
when the plane's already going slower.
Right. So are there things, specific aspects of this bird strike that they're going to be looking into?
Oh, yeah, for sure. I mean, they're going to analyze the distress call from the pilot
Okay.
and the timing of that go-around maneuver.
Right.
Did he have enough time?
Right.
Enough altitude to recover after it hit the bird?
Yeah.
Was there anything else going on?
Look.
Like, problems with the engines or the controls
Right.
before or after the bird strike?
Okay.
I mean, these are really important questions.
Yeah.
And hopefully the black box will be able to tell us.
It's almost like a puzzle.
It is, yeah. You have all these different pieces.
Right.
Eyewitness accounts, the footage we have, what the pilot said,
Right.
and hopefully the black box.
Yeah.
And they're, putting it all together to figure out what happened.
Yeah.
Yeah, like detectives.
Exactly.
But with, really high stakes.
Right.
It's not just about finding one cause.
Right.
It's also about figuring out if there are any, systemic problems
Okay.
or any safety gaps that might have led to the crash.
Got it.
Yeah,
So even if the bird strike was a big part of it,
right,
the investigation might find other issues.
right. Like maintenance procedures or pilot training.
Right. That need to be changed to prevent this from happening again.
Exactly, yeah. It's about learning from this and making flying safer for everyone.
Yeah, absolutely. You mentioned earlier that the flight recorder that was damaged might be sent to the U.S.
Right.
for analysis.
Yeah.
What is it about their expertise that makes them like the go-to people for this?
Well, the NTSB, the U.S. National Transportation Safety Board,
Right.
they're known all over the world
Okay.
for their, skill in investigating plane crashes.
Okay.
They've got these amazing facilities and a whole team of incredibly skilled investigators
Right.
who really know how to analyze those flight data recorders and cockpit voice recorders. So
Yeah.
in this case, they might have, special equipment or knowledge that can help them get the information off of that damaged recorder.
It's good to know that there's all this, international cooperation and expertise
Yeah, it's reassuring.
Yeah.
Definitely.
being used in this investigation. It really shows how important it is to figure out what happened
Right, to learn from it.
and learn from it. Yeah.
Yeah.
And while all this is going on, I know that South Korea has taken some action already.
Oh, right.
They've declared a national mourning period,
Yeah.
and the crash site is now a special disaster zone.
Okay.
And the government's also said that they're going to inspect all the Boeing 737-800s in the country. So those are some big steps. It shows that they're serious about this and they want to stop something like this from happening again.
Absolutely, yeah.
But I'm wondering, what are some of the things that might come out of this investigation?
Right.
Like, what kind of changes could we see in the aviation industry because of this?
That's a really good question. I mean, what they find could have a lot of implications.
Okay.
It could lead to changes in safety rules
Okay.
or modifications to how the planes are designed
Right.
or even how pilots are trained.
Right.
It could also make people start talking about, better ways to prevent bird strikes at airports.
Right. It's not just about reacting to this one specific thing.
Right. It's about being proactive,
Yeah.
looking ahead to make flying even safer in the future.
Right.
Yeah. And, every investigation like this
Right.
adds to what we know about aviation safety,
Right.
helps us improve our procedures, figure out where we're vulnerable, and make things safer for everyone who flies.
Right. Yeah, it really makes you think about all the work that goes into
Right.
making sure that flying is as safe as it is.
It's a process.
Yeah.
Always evolving, always trying to get better.
Yeah. It's amazing. And it's not just about the technology and the rules.
No, definitely not.
It's the people, too.
Yeah, absolutely.
The pilots, the air traffic controllers, the people who maintain the planes.
Everyone's got a part to play.
Yeah, everyone's got to work together. And, it makes me think back to those families
Yeah.
at the airport
Right.
waiting.
Right.
I mean, their lives are forever changed.
Absolutely.
What can be done to help them through this?
Well, airlines usually have things in place to help the families right away.
Right.
Like, counseling to help them with their grief.
Right.
And just help with, practical things they need to do.
Right.
And the South Korean government has said that they're going to give financial help and other support.
Good.
But, beyond those immediate things, there's the long-term impact to think about.
Yeah, the emotional, psychological impact.
Exactly. Yeah.
It's hard to imagine, really.
It is, yeah.
What's out there to help them deal with all of that?
There are a lot of organizations that, their whole purpose is to help families who've been through something like this.
Okay.
Families of people who've died in plane crashes.
Yeah.
They offer all sorts of things like counseling, support groups, legal advice.
Okay.
It's really important for them to know that they're not alone
Right.
and that there are people who want to help.
Right, yeah. It's so hard to think that even with all the safety stuff,
Yeah,
something like this can still happen.
I know.
It's just a reminder that life is fragile.
It really is.
Yeah.
And it makes you realize how important it is to, cherish every moment
Right.
and the people in our lives.
Yeah, absolutely. Well, as we wrap up this deep dive,
Yeah.
I'm left thinking, what do you think is going to be the most important thing we learn from this?
I think for me, it's that aviation safety, it's really complicated.
Yeah.
There are so many pieces involved.
Yeah.
And even tiny things can have, big consequences. It's
Right.
like a delicate balance.
Yeah.
You need the technology, the human expertise,
Right.
and maybe even a little bit of luck.
Yeah. Well, this has been a tough topic, but an important one to discuss.
I agree.
Thanks for taking us through this.
You're welcome. It was good to talk about this with you.
Yeah, and to our listeners, we hope this has helped you understand this tragedy a little better.
Yeah, and maybe made you think about the importance of safety when you fly.
Yeah, absolutely.
Thanks for listening.